Huzzah and welcome to Beyond the Gates, an Ohio Renaissance Faire production. On this show, you will hear from all your favorite members of Streetcast, vendors, and stage shows. We will hear wonderful stories from years past and find out who are the people who make the fair as magical as it is. So please, join us and enjoy Beyond the Gates. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Beyond the Gates, an Ohio Renaissance Faire podcast. Thank you so much for coming back and listening to the final episode of Season 2. And if you caught the end of the last episode that I did, you would know that today is going to be a very, very special episode. We are joined by one of the owners of the Ohio Renaissance Festival, Dave, the entertainment director, and Cheryl. How's everybody doing today?
Good.
Yeah, doing great. Thanks.
Yeah.
Dave, you've been on the show previously in the first season. Cheryl, would you like to take a second just to say who you are and what you do at the fair and introduce yourself to the audience?
Sure. My name is Cheryl. You already know that. I have had the privilege of being the marketing director for the Ohio Renaissance Festival for 25 years. So between David, Entertainment Dave, and myself, we're the oldest mares in the barn, on the festival staff.
This is going to be a little bit confusing since we have Dave, the entertainment director, and Dave, what are the owners?
Yeah, yeah. Sometimes I'm referred to as OD or the Village Idiot. You could go with either way. So
OD or the Village Idiot. Nice. Now, OD,
yes.
what inspired you to take ownership of the Ohio Renaissance Festival?
Hmm. Well, it was interesting. I'd never been to much of the festivals, and I had some good friends that I've known for a long time, and one of them had been, and we have known each other for a long time, and we do different kind of investments together. And one of my current owners, he said that he loved the place. We had to go check it out. There's three of us total. One of the pubs is called Three Fools. That's where the name came from. And it was basically I was the one who's available, if you will. The other two guys were still working in their company, so I went out and checked out the festival, and I thought, well, this place is pretty impressive. I'd never been there. Sorry, it's one of the questions you might ask me, but I hadn't been there, but my wife and the kids had. So I had a prior company. So I stayed pretty consumed with that. And when I had some more free time, I went out and checked it out and thought, I think this place, it's a really neat place. It's an outdoor venue, has a lot of opportunities. So, I did all the due diligence and thought we can make it work.
So, how has your original vision for the fair evolved over time?
Mm, um, Evolved, our goal has always been to make the festival better. That's an obvious statement, but try to expand on what we have out there, put more capital, breathe some additional life into it. Um, the other side benefits is it's this great facility. We've always felt that we could leverage it and utilize it for other events if possible. So that's been a goal and a vision for this is year 11 now. And we have been able to expand some other events that start and expand. But their primary goal is to then feed into the exposure into the park itself, which then exposes people to the Renaissance Festival, which then allows the festival to grow. So that's always been the vision out there, and I do think it's working. We've added a haunt, and it's does quite well now. It's up to 7 weekends. We're in the middle of Yuletide Village, which is 4 weekends of a light festival, and we've added a seasonal barbecue that runs small little events all summer long. And we've added a Celtic Fest. So I just think the collection of those things really help expose people from other different demographics into coming out and seeing the actual facility. Because I know the effect it had on me once I saw the facility. So I figured it would on others because it's really hard to describe in commercials, or it's a lot better now than what it was 11 years. You could ask Cheryl about this, coming from just the changes that have occurred, but both with social media and all the digital ways to reach people. That wasn't as near as big, especially when the festival started when I was hearing about it 30 some years ago, let alone even 11 or 12 years ago. So that's really enabled us to, I think, show the place in a lot better light. But prior to that, it really had to, people had to come out there to see it, to understand it.
How do you balance historical accuracy with entertainment and modern expectations?
Hmm. I think I'll let Cheryl and Dave answer that one.
We used to be very historical, and didn't let any type of anachronistic um, things or themes within the festival. We tried to keep it very much to Elizabethan England with Shakespeare and stuff. We compressed time a little bit, but that's where it was. As I think the entertainment venue has adapted and grown, and what they can show in the movies and television and such, fantasy has taken a big hold on everything. And I think that's what the crowds expect. A lot of what they see now is Game of Thrones or any of the Witcher or any of the other fantasy series, and it's an outlet. And people want to be more entertained than they want to be necessarily educated on exactly who is who in the hierarchy of Queen Elizabeth's court. They want that place to play and express themselves rather than have us kind of control it. So we've expanded and let the more of the magic and fun characters come out.
I think to add to that, a few years ago, we adopted the tagline where history and fantasy collide. And that's just a testament to go along with what David was explaining, that it is a venue that we're seeing more fantasy come into play, and we provide escapism to the majority of people who attend. It's a place where they can come and experience that magic, and if they want to dress as a fae, they can. If they want to be a pirate, they can. If they want to wear a court gown, they can. It's something where they can really have an experience, but make it the experience that they want.
How does the festival impact the local community and economy?
Hmm. Well, I think there's two sides to the business. Businesses are visitors communities to communities, but businesses also build communities. So I think it's a double-edged sword a bit. We're very sensitive to try not to be too disruptive. I mean, we probably are a bit of a hassle for them because we do get a lot of traffic and we run for 2 months on the weekends. So what we've tried to uh, do in those regards is we've had to actually implement putting a day of caps so that we can minimize the overflow or any additional problems for the villages and the cities around us. Those caps are probably 20% lower than what we've had in the past on given days. So we've actually tried to reduce that both for the customer experience as well as the impact of the community. The plus side of the community is we do bring in a lot of seasonal jobs. There's a number of people that live in the local communities that actually are either vendors or work at a variety of the different locations at the festival. We probably have, Cheryl, you can jump in here a little bit, or Dave, but I'm going to say between the 150 plus artisan vendors, the 20 plus food vendors, all the entertainment acts, all the street casts. We probably have over 700 people working there.
Yeah.
We all are. I mean,
Mhm.
we support the local police department. They're actually a kind of a part-time facility. We get given the size of the village, so we supplement, I think, in a good way and significant way. We pay for the police force to be there on the weekends and plus help their local community by actually allowing them to get more hours in. I know that those are some of the mechanics that a lot of people may not see, but it's very important to have them controlling the streets for us and bringing in the patrons as fast as possible. And we work with State Highway Patrol. We work with ODOT to try to expand and do things with lighting. So there's a lot of other areas that we touch. From the economy standpoint, that to try to, I don't know, optimize what we can inside the facility so that patrons can enjoy themselves and not be uh, too disruptive to the local areas. That's a lot to cover, but it's a very broad um, topic because I probably spend 75% of my time on these outside areas, and that it can be an entire uh, discussion on its own as how many different micro jurisdictions we have to work through and health departments and everything else, state level, county level, water, infrastructure, power, everything, because it becomes a small city, that bumps into a city that next door to us. So there's a lot going on there.
How did you come to the conclusion that ticket caps were needed? Because isn't that sacrificing possible ticket sales?
Yeah, it definitely is on one hand, a sacrifice, but I will say though that there's a trade-off. If you have too many people, it's less enjoyable for everybody. So we try to balance that. If the roads, the infrastructure around us, we have two-lane roads. We can't do anything about that. 7173 intersection is, frankly, in my opinion, fairly archaic design of what's there. There's just a stop sign, on southbound traffic coming from Columbus. So it's very complicated to get people to the location. So that, and then add to that, if, we're general admission for a long time until 2 years ago. So we just were never able to predict. We could forecast a little bit, but not actually predict how many people want to show up, which caused great burden, one, to the roads, the structure, the infrastructure, our parking, our staff, the patrons. So we just felt it was best to just limit. And it was only a few days, I'll say that, but it's still a few days that are hard for everybody. So it was just better to incorporate some more predictability and try to spread it out. And we do notice, there's, as the weather cools, you probably get more people that are going to attend. There's fewer things going on in October than there are September, but September is a lighter month for us than October in general. So the people that are out there on the site, they'll definitely see more often. We have sold out events or days more so in October than September. So actually, it's just to try to help smooth it all out for everybody.
You said earlier that you didn't really come to the fair before you took an ownership role. Uh, do you come to the fair now?
Oh yeah, I'm in 11 years. I think I haven't been there twice on 2 days of not just the Ren Fair, but Celtic, Yuletide, um, the other events. I've been there every day. Probably bug these guys a lot. Mm. Yeah, no, we're very hands on, very hands on.
When coming to the festival, has anyone ever recognized you?
Oh yeah, yeah, I think so. Both uh, friends from a long time, past businesses I was involved with. Some of those employees will come out. Family, patrons that I've met and got to know. I see them. We see people around town. So it's yeah, it's definitely get noticed at times.
What is the funniest or most unexpected thing you've witnessed at the festival?
Mm, well, funniest for me anyway. Some of those are, I think some of the acts are they're pretty darn funny. There's a few that if you there's one guy that was out there that he would insult people and the people would pay to get insulted. He is a pretty funny guy. That was pretty memorable to watch some people get abused, frankly, verbally. That is. And there's one of the other guys I enjoy listening to is a guy named Arnie. He's pretty funny with his lyrics. and many more of them out there. But in the unexpected side, it falls into a different bucket of category types of things. The One of the unexpected things Cheryl can remember is when the guy brought a goat as his pet. Remember that, Cheryl?
Oh, very well.
Yeah, it was his what do they call it?
Emotional support animal.
Yes, yes. And this about 7 years ago, and we're like, is this true? Is this real? He had papers, and we're like, these don't really seem real, but he seemed pretty harmless. But the goat made its way around. We let it in, and then we had to ask him to leave with the goat later in the day. That was a little unusual. Um, and so then we had to do some research and study what are the only real service animals that you're allowed to, to have papers on. And there's two kinds that I didn't know about the second one. I always knew about dogs, but I didn't realize that the pony, the 36-inch or shorter pony, is actually a service animal as well. But I'm sure many of your listeners would know that, but I didn't. So, but that was a little unexpected. And then I'm not going to say daily, but almost every season, there's definitely unexpected things that happen that we have to work around. We have unexpected weather, near hurricanes that go through. Like last year, we had power that you lose that you is kind of unexpected. We had a complete water outage on 73 that we had to work around. We had water capacity issues as we installed our all of our infrastructure and supported all the flushies and all the restrooms that we put in. There's a triple witching hour that we since learned about 4 p.m. water got real tight. So those were all unexpected little opportunities we had to work through. Um, Fiber being cut in Chillicothe, Ohio, takes out our network, takes out our credit cards. That's the background. Those were unexpected. Almost, there's quite a few of those stories that we try to not have customers feel the impact of.
Do you have a special moment that you've witnessed that sticks with you?
Mm. Well, there's there's a lot of people that come out there that I can tell that it's kind of like it's their outlets. They see people they haven't seen in a while. There's a lot of camaraderie around that. The weddings are pretty special. I mean, we do a lot of weddings out there, and a lot of them are I'm going to say they try to. Some of them are not surprise weddings themselves, but there's some special events that occur that they try to work in surprises around some of those events. I mean, then there's some really sad um, events, meaning there's just some people that come out there that are um, having some tough challenges, and like we had the remember the child this year, Cheryl.
Hmm. Yes.
So that was there's a hardship there, with that child,
Hmm.
but you know what those so you see some real um it was very memorable to that they wanted to come out with their child because it was special to the child um in the situation they were dealing with. um so you kind of have that kind of special moment all the way up to happiness of people getting married and having um spending time the rest of their lives together, and they come back every year. There's a annual wedding renewal and sweethearts day. That's pretty neat to watch and be part of. My wife and I have done that.
Add to what Dave said and say that for me, most of the special moments that I've witnessed have involved um, children visiting who are, fighting a battle that we can only imagine. And it's when, regardless of what the special event is, or if it's a wedding, or if it's, a little girl meeting the queen for the first time, or someone who's fighting cancer whose eyes light up when they see a joust. It's about the magic of it. You can definitely see the magic happening. And when that happens, those moments really stick with you. And I'm sure street cast probably have those moments multiple times a day.
Very much so. Usually they do. I mean, the ones I've talked to, I say one of the biggest things they can make for people is make memories. It's a little bit of a grab of immortality when someone comes back year after year and knows this character and will tell their friends about it. Things like that happen. And it keeps going. So the small magic moments for each person out there.
What do you love most about Renaissance festivals?
Um, well, most that's a hard one to put any one thing on it. I guess I just enjoy seeing the the people that come out there, and frankly, it's a lot of the regulars that you'll see as well because that they bring more and more of their friends. They build a community. You have some people that are new to it. You can tell when they're walking around, like, what is this? Did you see that costume? Who is that? So you can tell the ones that are kind of just first getting exposed to it, but the ones that have been coming and they're regulars and that I really do enjoy seeing, you know, them enjoying themselves, I guess is the best way to say it. I have went to music festivals, I went to other stuff, but I don't see the same effect. I think that, people make their way around and they kind of make some of their moments out there as well. We try to enable them, but they kind of make them. And so the average time that somebody spends out there is 4 hours or more, so there's a lot of different things that they get some exposure to. And you just don't see that at a lot of other events that want the opportunity to even try to do that. That's what, if you look at the layout of the festival, and the building structures and the things we try to do with the landscaping, some of the artwork, some of the uniqueness. I mean, we build in and utilize, the, some of the older design methods that you really can't tell why you're seeing it, that it looks a certain way, but it does. So all those things are kind of unique out there. And so, to me, that's something that I don't think you see most places that you'll see at a Renaissance festival.
What is the biggest investment that has paid off for the festival?
Mm, there's no one. I would say there's kind of an aggregation. Um, we've added, I mean, one that you can put a monetary price on, I suppose, is when we brought in 3,500 feet of sewer lines. We designed and engineered some flushable bathrooms out of shipping containers, which made it was quite entertaining when people started discovering those. But all that infrastructure around that was a pretty big investment, and I do think that is appreciated. Just thinking of the costumes, these are outdoor venues, and you get a mix of porta johns and real restrooms. It's that that was a hit. I would say people recognize that, and so that one was one of the bigger ones. We've expanded and probably added 30% growth on our the size of the festival itself. That was a pretty good size expansion we did. So I think that helps spread out the groups, give or people more places to um, get to that's not so crowded, and it's more of a green space area. So that I think that over time is paying off. We're going to continue to expand back into that area. So those are some of the bigger things, and then I could bore you with infrastructure things like fiber. And I mean, we've had 3 iterations of what we can do around trying to install and utilize more payment methods, more credit card machines. I think when we started, Dave, what was the number? We had 6 credit card machines running
Yep.
at
Probably
4 megabit, I think, dial up almost. So we've added a tremendous amount of capacity for that, and we've also added, gosh, half our food vendors now are third-party food vendors. So we've tried to bring in more and more to support that um, the of attendance. Um, and they're more mobile versus static, like some of our buildings. So the structures that were already there, we had to work around. So there's a lot of the things around in the on the back end, if you will, of the festival to enable some of those for customers to utilize that were pretty expensive endeavors to take on.
What advice would you give to someone who dreams of creating their own festival? Because, I believe all three of you kind of create it in different ways.
who wants to go on first on this one? I mean, if I did it, infrastructure is king. It is how do you get in and out of the park? How do you park people? How do you take tickets? Do you do online? There's so much behind scenes that has to happen to make this thing work before I can even consider putting someone on a stage to entertain anybody. How am I going to get people in? I think a lot of people build it reverse when they get the idea of this is going to be great, and they don't think of what it's going to take to make it, something.
Yeah, and to add all those things that Dave spoke about is you're going to need a lot of capital. So don't undercapitalize yourself. Have a plan on how your spend rate's going to, where all your expenses are going to be. Get to know, and this this will take you quite a bit of time, but you have to get to know every inspector in the region. You have to get to know what the building codes are, the zoning codes are, what the health department's requirements are, what the state's requirements are. Are you going to have billboards? Are you going to have to deal with state permits on any kind of digital things out on the highways? Where's the state highway patrol? What do you do with the like our guys that we work great with at Massey Township, which are the EMS and fire? You got to make sure you got coverage on that. How your contracts work to them, because those are all your first responders. That's key to it as well. That goes back to what Dave's talking about. Because you get a lot of people in the park, and if anyone has a problem, you got to be able to service them quickly. So it's that base foundation that there's so many aspects of it that um, you have to have a pretty good game plan for it. So it's there's things to dream about, and then there's what are the realities to make these things happen? So um, and then of course there's the food and beverage side of it. I mean, we have 7 transformers of power out there that we've expanded. It's moving that around. We have to bore under ground to move electric around anymore. We can't do it above or cut through, because once you put buildings and structures in, you got to go 20 feet deep, come up on the other end, put in all your CT cabinets, plan out your power distribution, because uh, the food world takes a ton of power. So those are just a few of the highlights, things that you might want to consider when you try to build and expand out
Cheryl's
a
part of it.
festival. Oh
Cheryl's
yeah,
part of it. You could
yeah,
build it all,
right.
but
But
Yeah,
I think from a marketing perspective, you have to choose your location wisely, which also feeds into what Dave and David have both talked about. Um, be weary of your competition, not fearful weary, but just be apprised of what you're up against, the time of year that you're running, other Renaissance festivals, other big attractions. Um, we are fortunate with our location, and we've had 36 years to grow and learn from our mistakes to a certain extent. But you have to have, as Dave said, an awful lot of capital. You know, if you build it, they won't always come. You have to tell them. So, you just have to have a lot of capital. It's definitely not a cheap endeavor to build your own Renaissance festival. And if you think 287 acres is enough, it's probably not.
True.
What do you hope guests feel or remember most when they leave your gates?
Well, um, I kind of think of it. Oh, I don't know. I think I made some notes on this just because I thought it made sense. I thought, there's several things. One is I think that you'll feel that the fair is pretty welcoming environment. That's a uniqueness too. I think that patron experiences, like Cheryl's mentioned, is a bit of escapism, the costumes and the characters, but truly the environment, and hopefully the commitment of everyone from the staff, vendors, and entertainers um, meet the goal of to create memorable moments that can't be replicated. I think that's kind of the key to a Renaissance festival, and it's not we everyone works hard to kind of be there, play along. If you're on Streetcast, you know what I'm talking about. Always in character, and I think the patrons become patrons, and it just the experiments or experiences grow from that. What would you say, Dave?
No, and I agree. I agree. It's you want them to take those memories, that experience, that what an amazing day we'd have had out here. I mean, I would love it in the next day or two when they go back to work. What did you do this weekend? Well, I did this. Well, guess what I did? And
Mm-hmm.
they have these stories that they can spread to other people and just say what this was and how magic was for them to come out and play, whether it was watching a joust or playing with foam weapons and playing the games, doing all this fun stuff, and like I said, the escape for them.
I heard one patron. I was coming in. I was watching the all the crowd coming in the morning. Um, and there was three young ladies there, and they were waiting for somebody. And when they saw the person, the lady reached up. She went to hug the other person, and she said, "It's okay. This is a place you're allowed to hug." I'm like, you know, it's like they really it is a lot of places should be that. We're not the only ones that you should feel comfortable just being yourself and greeting somebody. But I thought, yeah, this is what it's about. So that was pretty neat. That was like second last weekend this year.
So, the next question, I don't know how much everyone here will be able to divulge, but I feel like this is a main reason that some people are probably listening to this episode. Uh, what's next for the festival? Are there upcoming expansions or new experiences you're excited about?
Hmm. Well, um, we are trying to do more on the grounds. I think that's important. Um, Dave's got some special things happening on the entertainment side. He could talk about if you'd like. Um, and I think the expansion side, um, we probably have a little bit of room yet before we have to expand, but we do have some areas that we can expand into. So I'll leave it at that.
As far as fun for me, I'm trying to bring new entertainment in. I'm trying to do something different with maybe guest artists that only come in for a couple of weeks at a time. We just released a couple of weeks ago that Jack the Whipper will be coming out to the festival in September, and that seemed to get a lot of excitement. I want to find more groups like that I can go, hey, if they won't be here for the full time, can I bring them out partial time? That way we can all experience them a little bit and then get to be part of the magic they make from a festival.
I think for me, it would be experiential expansion. We're always trying to improve upon what we've already created and what we're already doing. So, with the experiences that we currently offer from pub crawl to the feast to the new resting squire, how can we put even more into those things and expand on the patron experience? Very vague and not telling you a whole lot.
No, no, I, I had a feeling that the answers were going to be somewhat close to the chest on that one. Uh, but as somebody who is active on social media in many ways, a lot of people are excited about Jacques the Whipper
Mhm.
coming to fair next year.
Yeah.
So as we wrap up here, I just have a couple more questions. Uh, and these last two questions are kind of normal show questions that I ask everybody. Dave, what do you do when you aren't dealing with festival business?
Hmm. Well, I do spend a fair amount of time with studying some of the early and upcoming technologies. I spend a lot of time with our family. I have a daughter and a son. Our daughter lives in New York, so I see her one. I go there once a month, um, attend some things up there, and then our son and his wife and their two kids live in Cincinnati. So we were fortunate enough to be close to spend a fair amount of time with them too. So, and then there's some sports activities that I hack away at it. I play tennis, so I do a lot of exercise and that those kind of things. But that's to get ready for the festival the following year. You got to stay in shape. It's a big area to walk.
Right before we get into the last question here, I just wanted to say thank you to everybody out there who has listened so far to the first season and the second season of Beyond the Gates. With this being the last episode, I just wanted to say thank you to everybody who's come on the show, as well as to everyone who's listened and interacted. And as always, you can catch us on Apple Podcasts, YouTube, and Spotify. And for the last question here, and everybody, feel free to answer. Dave, I believe I asked you this when you were on in the first season. Uh, what keeps you coming back year after year? Now, I understand that Dave, your answer is going to be a little bit different since you are an owner, but there's got to be something that you know keeps keeps it going for you every year.
Yeah. There's no question that I could I step back a little bit. I mean, you certainly can get a feel from the staff out there. They don't always need me. um, you know, no, come on, guys, you don't have to. No, but no, seriously, the um, but it is something that when you're helping to build something, you kind of feel like I've done that all my life. Is I because I feel I have anyway. Is help build and grow companies. And there's a lot of satisfaction to see this place grow. And we want to keep it continuing. And we've moved from part-time staff. I mean, when we first started, there was literally two full-time people there, and I can tell you we have a whole lot more of that now. We've got dedicated people in the food world, beverage world, entertainment staff. We all the people that work out build out what is needed to maintain and have the next show come forward, and every little thing like weather they're like we're doing with right now and figuring out how to park this weekend. There's just so much going on that just seems like it's can't wait to do the next thing. So that's what brings me back.
I like the people. It's all the street cast I get to help train and bring up. It's the stage acts I get to talk to year after year and planning the event and then watching it come to life. And seeing the patrons you get to see year after year and new patrons that haven't seen this thing before. It's kind of a watching people ooh and all, like putting a fireworks show or something like that together, and then just watching the reaction and kind of go, "Ooh, did I do good? Or do we need to work on something?" But it's just that magic and that energy of it that gets you going. Okay, I'm ready for this again. Let's see what happens this year. So It's just a special place. It's a magical place, and it's definitely not the 9 to 5 same thing every day kind of job.
I think for me, it's a very similar answer as to what David just mentioned. Um, the creative behind building and putting on this event um, is honestly the biggest driver for what keeps me coming back year after year. I've definitely met some of the most wonderful people that I would never have met in any other in any other job setting through the Renaissance Festival world. Um, and like David said, it's not your traditional 9 to 5. So, we often call it the gauntlet from August 1st until the end of the season. And every year we probably sit around and ask ourselves, why do we do this? When we're exhausted and tired. But to see the reaction of the patrons is definitely worth it, especially the younger patrons, the younger kids. The first time they see the Queen, or they see a knight on horseback, or a street cast person will go out of their way to interact with a little girl who's crying, and they turn her day just upside down, and she's happy and feels that magic. And from an analytical side, it's it's a great world to be in because you get to analyze so much behavior in order to reach people to come to your event. It's the creativity all the way around.
Thank you so much, everybody, for your wonderful answers. Thank you. Thank you, Dave, Cheryl, and Dave for coming on the show this week. Is there anything that anybody would like to promote? I know we're just starting up Yuletide.
Yes, we are just had our first weekend of Yuletide Village, so we have 3 more Friday and Saturdays for folks to come out and see the Renaissance Festival grounds lit up in beautiful twinkling lights and see it in a very different setting.
I will actually be out there this weekend. So where can people find their tickets in advance?
YuletideVillage.com. I promise it won't crash.
No, well, that's great.
Mm,
Well,
mm.
Dave, Cheryl, and Dave, uh, thank you so much for coming on the season finale of season 2 of Beyond the Gates. It's been a real treasure, and when the possibility of this episode and having one of the owners come on was talked about before Fair even started this year, I was very excited for it and looking forward to it for throughout the year. So, Dave, thank you for taking the time and coming on the show.
Yeah, thank you.
And thank you, Dave and Cheryl, for coming on as well.
Of
Thank
course,
you
anytime.
for tolerating us.
Oh no, it was my pleasure. Uh, well, thank you once again for coming on, and as always, huzzah!
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 Huzzah!